Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. I'm back here at the main base. After the last episode, I finished up the depot with the remaining stations, and then I added one additional train of the 141 and one additional fluid train. So now we've got two trains of each type waiting at the depot for their eventual use. They're not doing too much right now because we're not using a lot of coal. And uranium is okay. Now, we can't see uranium right now because I removed the radar. I'm going to need to relocate one of the radars that we've got. But what I did is I extended the line north and then started heading west over to the area where I think we're going to want the reactors to be. And I'm not quite sure how far over I should go. Maybe I should go all the way until it ends. Well, the reason I'm doing this is because I think it would make sense to make the fuel where the reactors are. So my idea is that we take the uranium to wherever the reactor is going to be, and that's where we make the fuel. I really wish we had like one really big lake that I could use for this, but looks like there's going to be a bunch of small ones. So I might have a lot of water pipes running all over the place, or I might just do the explosive excavation and just make water where I need it. In fact, I'll probably end up doing that. The ingredients for that are a little bit expensive, but we can do it. So, I think we can still get something set up and to at least start processing the uranium to make the uranium 235 and the uranium 238. In fact, maybe for now I can just start processing it at the actual uranium mine until I have a better idea of where I want the reactors to go. So why don't I do that? I'm coming up here so that I can move the radar. The one that's covering this area, I think, is that one right there. Yeah, so I want to move that farther north. So let me go down and grab that. That way we can make sure that we get the uranium mine covered with the radar. Because I like to be able to see what's going on remotely without having to travel there. All right, looks like we got a few mining drills used up, so we can pick those up. I have a little bit of room in my inventory. I'm going to grab, while we're here, I'm going to grab some landfill, because I'm sure we're going to need some of that. Actually, let's Control V. Does that work? No. Okay, that's too bad. I was hoping I would be able to use that Control V function to copy into a car, but I guess you can't do that. All right, so I'll take the whole train's worth, or the whole chest worth, so we can put it on the train and take that with us when we go up to eventually set up the mining area. Okay, so this is like the approximate center of the base, so I think that's a good place to put one of the radar, right in the middle of the main base. And then we have another one down here by coal, I think. Yeah. And then we have the third one. I just put that up here so we can start scanning this northern area. They cover such a big area now that you only need, I mean, this is only 3 radar covering all this, which is pretty huge. All right. So let me go get this stuff loaded onto the train. That means I'm going to have to remove the inserters for my trash wagons, because that's where I'm going to be putting this stuff. So I'm going to remove those. That way it won't just take the landfill out. All right, let's bring this a little bit closer. And that's interesting that a car can actually hold more stuff than a train can. Okay. All right, so uranium mine is covered now. I can see that we've got about 35,000 ore. The acid supply is now below 10,000. And I had it with a 10,000 threshold. So I wonder why it hasn't requested more yet. Okay, well, that's something I need to check on. So let's go up there. I did make 8 centrifuges offline so that we can set up some uranium processing. Now, the other possibility would be to leave this as the main uranium processing area. Once this mine is mined out, we can replace this, we can turn this into a receiving station and bring in uranium. And we could just make all the fuel cells here. No, I think it's better to do it by the reactor because we're going to be reprocessing the spent fuel cells and stuff. And yeah, I think it's better just to take uranium to where the reactor is. Okay, so I wanted this to maintain a acid level of 10,000, but it's not doing that. So I wonder if maybe there's another signal I need here. What's that? Oh, disable rail. Okay, so I think it's only these signals here. Okay, well, I don't see any other signals. Maximum train length of 4. I've got one of those. There we go. Oh, okay. I know why that didn't go right away. Because the default threshold to deliver more is 1,000. So if I tell it I want 10,000, it won't ask for more until I get down to 9,000. Okay, because now there's a 1,000 difference between what I want and what I have. Yeah, because I'm putting out negative 10,000 here. If I already had 9,000 something, then the result is going to be less than 1,000. So that's why I wasn't getting a delivery. All right, so there should be a train. What the... Okay. I have no idea what's going on there. See if I can get rid of that. It looks like it's blocked by the ghost of a locomotive. That's weird. Huh. Okay. So now this is going to fill up. Okay. So here's a little problem that we're going to have. That filled up the tanks all the way. And I don't have enough room to accommodate it. So the train is not going to be able to completely empty, which means that eventually it'll leave here with some acid still in the tank, and that's something that I don't want. Right. Okay, so I'm going to put this in manual mode so that that train doesn't go anywhere yet. We'll let it sit there for a while, and hopefully it'll get used up. In the meantime, let's go back to the main base, and I want to see if we can wire up the pumps over there so that it'll only fill up the amount that's being requested. And there is a way that you can do that with LTN, because when the train gets to the station, it'll provide a signal that states what material it wants and how much. So you can use that to have a little control circuit so that you only add to the train what is actually being requested. Wow, surprised I didn't hit anything. Okay. Right, so from this light, let me see here. Let me check my Logistic Train Network description on the forum here. Okay. Yeah, the little combinator thing on the side of the station is what gives a signal, and it basically says what its target cargo is. So we can connect a wire to that thing there, and we can get that signal. And we can also get the actual contents of the train from the train station itself. Okay, so that's where the arithmetic combinator can help us. All right, so if I'm going to use green wires here. All right, so this will give me the expected cargo. And then if I multiply that by -1, and output the same value, then that'll give me a negative number with what the cargo is going to be. And then I can add to that by attaching a signal to the output side, the actual contents of the train. So here I'm going to set this to read the train contents. So this will tell me what cargo is actually in the train. This will tell me how much the train wants and subtract it. So until we get a positive number, we should be running the pumps. Okay, so let's send that signal over to the pumps here. Okay, and we can tell the pumps to be enabled as long as sulfuric acid is less than 0. And that should do what we want. So Let's test it. Now I'm sure we haven't used up that much acid, so what I can do is I'll just pick up one of the tanks and put it back down again, and that'll essentially destroy some of the fluids that we have there. But I think it's important to get it tested and make sure that this is going to work properly. Okay, so go back to uranium. Okay, yeah, we still got 50,000 in the tank, and there's still some more there, so... or maybe instead of picking those up, I can achieve something similar by just attaching another tank. Then some of it will drain out into there, and then I can pick it up, and now it's gone. All right, so we could just do that a few times to get this back below threshold. Okay, so I'm going to run this. I'm going to put this back to automatic, so that should go back to the depot. And then I can work on trying to eliminate some of the acid. Okay, so it's down to 29. It doesn't work. It puts it right back in. Right? I mean, that's a great feature, except now I don't want it to do that. I want to destroy this stuff. See if I separate it by a pipe, if that'll change things. Yeah, okay. So we can destroy it that way. Let's pump some of that out. Get it down below 10,000 again. Or below 9,000 in this case. Okay. So now just send a signal saying that we need 1050 sulfuric acid. Okay, there goes the train. Hopefully it'll not get stopped by a ghost again. And hopefully it will only fill up 1,000 acid before it stops. Yes, there we go. It got a little bit more because it was, you know, it pumps very quickly. But okay, so that works great. Now it's going to come over here and it's going to bring in 1,000. It's still going to be below threshold. So, actually I'm going to remove a section of track for a second because I don't want this to complete yet. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the request threshold so that it doesn't request unless we need at least 5,000. So that, because I don't want the train to bring 1,000, go back, and then bring another 1,000, and, you know, make lots of small trips. So let's see what happens there. Okay. Yeah, so now we have 7,000, and it's still not asking for more. And it won't ask for more until it gets down to 5,000. Now, in this particular case, I think we can do this even a little bit better. So let's set our target level close to the maximum amount in the container. So I'm going to set the request, this can hold 50,000 in the two tanks. I'm going to set the request threshold to 40,000. And I'm going to set the target to 45,000. And I'll start pumping this back in the tank, or the tanks, plural. So this way it'll fill it up to 45,000, but it won't request another delivery until there's only 5,000 left. Okay, how much we bring in? Another 3,000. There we go. Okay, so we've got 2,000. So this way we'll keep the train close to being full. Now the other thing I could do is we could set this to 50,000. Yeah, because you know ideally it'll bring 50,000, which is a full train. That would be the most efficient use of the train. So what if we just set it to 50,000 and request threshold of 50,000? Okay, yeah, so it just requested the balance that it needs to get to 50,000. And then I'm going to put, yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. I think I need to leave some room. Because that didn't work the way that I thought it would. We'll set request for 45 and target for 50. So hopefully that means that when it gets down to only 5,000 left, it'll ask for a refill. Okay, so this makes it a little bit more complicated, obviously. But it does make, yeah, see, and it got really close to 50. Didn't quite get to 50 because we consumed some acid while we were waiting for the train to get here. Okay, well, that's, I think that's good enough for now. I'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully we won't get another delivery until it gets down to 5,000. That way we can avoid we don't want it to make a delivery every time it drops by 1,000. That'll just create a lot of traffic, and we'll have trains running around with hardly anything in their contents. All right, so let's go and figure out where to put the reactors and the fuel processing for the uranium, and then we can start to get that set up. All right, so I'm going to jump out of the train. Yeah, as you can see, I brought the train this far. Let's get in the car. I want to go over and see the edge of this large body of water. All right, so we can get lots and lots of offshore pumps lined up here to bring water to the heat exchangers. In fact, maybe right here would be a good place to run like a strip of landfill, and that way I'll have this big long flat shoreline that I can use, and then I could even landfill the other side and use the other side of it as well. I think that's what I'm going to do. So let me go to the train and get all the landfill, or at least a good piece of it. And if that's where the reactors are, then we could probably set up the fuel processing somewhere around here. All right. I need to get rid of pretty much everything, actually. Let's keep the bots. Okay. Now I can carry a lot of landfill. Okay. Yeah, so if we go right about here. Oops. Oh, we'll keep this small for now. Okay. So I'm just going to run south here. And this will give me a nice long shoreline where I can get lots of offshore pumps. Right, and then we can even excavate that with the explosives. And then we fill in everything on this side of it. And that'll take a while. Landfill disappears very quickly when you're trying to fill in large areas of water. But at least we could say that, you know, somewhere around here is where the reactors are going to be. And I want to set it up so that, what I want to do is set it up so that we have reactors like in a column, 2 reactors wide. And every time we need more power, we just add 2 more reactors, and then off to either side, we would have, or maybe even off to both sides, we would have the heat exchangers, and then, you know, the turbines. And I don't remember the exact size of the reactor. Maybe it's 4x4. All right, so it would be something like that. Yeah, here that'll kind of simulate the size of a couple reactors. And then you would have all the heat exchangers lined up, all the turbines lined up to fit within the same height as the reactor itself. So if we did something like this, then I can have the 2 reactors here on this strip of land. And then we can leave a gap of water and then put more land on the other side. And then we would have the pumps. Actually, that would be on that other piece of land over there. Well, no, that's not going to work because I have to get the heat pipes to the heat exchangers. Yeah, so I think we would have to make it one-sided. And every reactor needs approximately 4 heat exchangers and 7 turbines without neighbor bonus. Once you add the neighbor bonuses by having reactors next to each other, then it multiplies by up to 6. So you can get to the point where each reactor has 3 neighbors. All right, because if we do columns of 2 like this, then, you know, each of these reactors has 2 neighbors. So each of these has a 300, you know, acts like 3 reactors. right? You have the reactor itself, and then you have a neighbor bonus for these two. And then here, this one has neighbor bonus from 3 reactors. And so does this one. It gets a bonus from these 3. And then the one in the end only gets 2. So most of this is going to be with reactors that have a 3 reactor bonus, which means that one of those reactors will put out the same equivalent amount of heat as one reactor by itself. One reactor by itself needs about 4 heat exchangers and 7 turbines. So that means that each side of these is going to need 16 heat exchangers and 28 turbines. And that would be if we build on both sides. But in this case, we're probably only going to build on one side of the reactors. I don't know. I'm going to have to play around with it. But in any case, this is more or less where we will start setting up the nukes. Maybe I can... You know what? Maybe what I could do is I could have the reactors and the heat exchangers together and then bring in the water towards the center. And then I can send steam with an underground pipe, because you can bridge water with an underground pipe. So I can send steam across the water channel to the turbines, which would be on the other side of the strip of water. So that way I can build out on both sides. I think that's what I'll do. But again, I'll have to come up with a layout once we have the equipment available. So for the next episode, I will build some reactors and turbines, heat pipes, and heat exchangers. I think I'll start with enough for 2 reactors. That'll give us like 160 megawatts, I think. And we're only using 15, so that'll provide us with plenty of power. And that should be, that'll be enough to last us for quite a while, I think. Let's see, I need to get rid of more stuff. There we go. Okay, so, and then I'll also set up a few train stations for the fuel processing. I think I'll extend this track. Well, I don't want to get too close. I think I'll just do it right here, and that should give us enough room to build power plant over here. If not, we can always move it. All right, so let's put our reactor icon right there. That's where the reactors are going to go. And then over here is where we'll do the uranium processing. So for the next episode, I'll build some reactor components, and then I'll also set up the train stations to do the uranium processing. And I think we're going to need to bring in uranium, of course. So I'll need an unloading station for the uranium. We will also need iron plate, which is what we need to make the fuel cells from the uranium. Yeah. So we'll need to bring in some iron plates. And I think those are the only ingredients that I'll have to bring in. Everything else we should be able to make with the products that get produced here. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.